Chauncey,
Yes, sir.
super nice to meet you. I heard
Likewise.
from Ben that you have an extraordinary story to tell. I did a little poking around on my own, but then I'm like, no, I don't want to learn anymore. I wanted to learn it from you.
Okay.
Um, what happened on March 12th, 1977?
So let's see. I was 8 years old, and we were going on a fishing trip excursion. My dad, Walter Kelson, and he had his son. Walter had his son.
Walter was a firefighter
He
too,
was an
right?
engineer on Engine 23A shift. My dad was a firefighter, Engine 23B shift, and obviously they hung out and they were close. So that day we were going fishing. It was myself and maybe 4 or 5 other kids, one being Walter's son, and I think a nephew. So I remember going. It was butt cold that morning. It was March, and I couldn't tell you exactly where the lake's changed so much now, but it's like in a little cove, and we were just fishing. We started fishing this and that, and so I remember bugging my dad that morning because they had a blow up raft, and I wanted to go on it, and I was giving him crap about it, whatever. And he's like, "No, you're not doing it. You're not doing it, whatever." So they let Walter's son and the nephew go out on it, and so they went out a little bit. Like I don't know, it was kind of far. Well, it sprung a leak. So one kid could swim, one kid couldn't. They created like an air pocket in the raft, so they were floating. So being that it was Walter's son, he jumped in right away and just went. I mean, he just did. And then my dad was on shore with me and another kid. I think it was one or two kids. I don't remember. But and I remember my dad yelling at him, dog paddle, because it's cold and
Yeah.
whatever. So save your energy. And Walter made it out there, but then he just started bobbing up and down, and then he just went down. And then my dad, it's like he had to go, I guess, and he jumped in and went. But he didn't go as far. And on his way back to shore, he got about 6 or 8 feet, and then we were like looking at each other, and then he went down, and that was it. And so it was me and another kid on the shore. So after that, uh, a boat came. There were people on the opposite side of us yelling, and the boat that came, a guy jumped in where my dad went down, and he could stand up, but the water was like at his cheekbone a little bit, and he couldn't feel anything or whatever, but he could touch the bottom, and then that was it. And so I remember Maricopa County Sheriff showing up, and at the time, the only address I knew was my grandmother's, which was in South Phoenix. And so on the way home, he took me to a Jack in the Box. We didn't know the outcome until the next
The
day.
sheriff did?
Yeah, he took me to a Jack in the Box on like
Oh my God.
19th Avenue in Buckeye. He obviously knew something that I
Sure.
didn't. And I was like 8 years old. I didn't know. And they took me to my grandma's. And my mom was with my dad's sister, I think. She said they were at a barbecue or something. It was so long ago. I don't know. But I remember my grandmother getting upset. It was my mom. It was my grandmother on my mom's side, and so it was my grandmother, my uncle, my aunt, and I remember my grandmother. She didn't speak English, just Spanish, and but she understood when they told her, and I remember her screaming. And then I ended up staying the night there that night, and when I woke up, my mom was there and a bunch of people, and that was it.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Well, his name was Weston, the other firefighter?
Walter
Walter.
Kelson.
Walter Kelson.
Yeah.
And it was his son on the raft
Mm-hmm.
too. And have you ever spoken to him?
Maybe like 2 memorials ago that we have every year. I hadn't seen it. It messed him up quite a bit, a little bit more than me. He's a couple, 3 years older than me, and obviously it was traumatic, but I think it affected him a little more, and I didn't see him until he's like 58, 59 now. I'm 56. So, and I talked to him a little bit, but I think he lives in Ohio. I have his phone number, and I'll text him every now and again. His name is Solomon. We called him Solly. But my grandmother told me that they were pretty distraught about it. Obviously, I mean, it affected a lot of people. So they knew a lot of people. Walter was 45. My dad was 27.
I have kids who are older than that. It's unbelievable to
Yeah.
think that your father was 27
Yeah.
and when he drowned. Do you know why he became a firefighter?
He was a firefighter in the Navy.
Oh,
He was at Moffett Airfield in like San Jose, California. So then when he got out, see, he got hired in 73. So he was about, I guess, maybe 24, 23, something like that when he got hired with Phoenix. So,
wow. So you're a firefighter,
yes, sir.
and what inspired you to become a firefighter? How did you end up doing that, and are you surprised to still be doing it?
Well, initially, um, with my dad's drowning and everything, and me being there, it brought back too many memories, and I didn't want to do it. You know, I got hired, I mean, 30 or 31, but like I kind of knew some of the guys on the fire department, but not, wasn't real close. They kept in contact with my grandmother, my dad's mom. So I really, I thought I wanted to be, but mm, it wasn't in my heart at the time. And so I have a good friend who's on the fire department. He's like, Chauncey, just try one more time, try one more time, you know. And I was like, I knew the groundwork was there, but I don't know. So I tried, and in 2001, I got hired, and then that was it. Rest is history.
How um how do you you obviously you're doing your job. How often does your dad pop into your head? He
Every
was a
day,
fire, yeah.
every day, every day, or I'll walk by his picture, give him a little fist pump, hit his picture, what have you, whatnot. The fire department's a unique service. I think it's still a great job. There's obviously been a lot of changes,
Yeah.
but see, I've been on 24 years. I'm an engineer, and I love it. I love going to work. I'm at a new station with my hotshot chief here, and I tell people I'm born again because we're just not as busy as crews on the north side of South Mountain. And I still have fun, man. You know, I like driving the fire engine. I have a great crew and just make the best of it. You know, it's taking care of my family. I mean, it's a dangerous job, obviously, and guys are getting sick and
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff. It's unfortunate, but I mean, I still love it.
Do you think you're like closer to your dad's like spirit because you're a firefighter? Like you're seeing things that he would have experienced on the job, and is it give you any sense of closeness? Or
It's funny you ask that
because you were
because,
8 when you lost him, you didn't
yeah,
really get a lot of time.
whenever I encounter like, I don't know, dangerous situations. Like I was in the military, in the army, whenever, or being with the fire department, that I think, oh man, this is bad, or something's bad going to happen to me, or this or that. It's weird because I don't know, I kind of feel his presence looking down on me.
Us.
Or like if I'm sick or if I'm hurt, I kind of feel like he's still there, kind of, sort of. It sounds different,
That's
but
so cool. Have
yeah.
you talked to anybody that your dad was at his station, Station 23? Do you talk to any of those guys that were on a shift?
I've talked to, so that day he drowned. Uh, we had an old chief named. Can I use names or no?
Yeah,
Oh, we had an old chief named.
unless they're in witness protection,
Yeah,
No, he's not. No,
like
I don't
Ben.
think he
we
is.
don't know.
So Mike Ingalina Senior, he was a firefighter on A shift. They were doing a shift trade, so he was working for my dad on B shift at 23 that day. And years ago, I ran into him, and he's like, "Hey, you're Chauncey Ray. You owe me an AWR. That's what we call our shift trades." I go, "What?"
Yeah.
He was like, "It's like fireman humor." Yeah, I was working for your dad that day, and he didn't pay me back. And I was like,
Jeez.
"Come on."
Jesus,
So,
ouch.
but and then there were some guys they've retired since then. But when I got hired, I met a bunch of individuals, not at his station, but that came on with him, that knew him. And when I would talk to them, some of them would get visibly upset.
Yeah.
Just it would just hit home because I guess they were good friends or what have you. So
Now you have other siblings, right?
I have a younger brother, and then uh, I have two younger brothers and a sister. The two younger ones are from a different marriage, but my younger brother, he's 5 years younger than me, Shad. His name is Shad. He lives in Walnut Creek. California. He was 3 at the time, and he does better now, but he doesn't remember much. So growing up, he would get upset every now and again.
Yeah.
So
What obviously it's a terrible thing. I mean,
sure,
you lost your dad at age
sure,
8 and it's
sure.
terrible situation that
Uh-huh.
happened. But um in a way you have to be like, "Oh, that was my dad. Of
Yeah,
course he had to jump into the water. Of
yeah.
course he had to help." It was that like in his DNA or did you think the job, the fact that he was a firefighter, eh,
Well,
or do you jump in because he was Chauncey Ray?
no, I talked to Ben about this at the station briefly. I think back then, and I'll use some terms from work, but it like a risk management standpoint. Now we have a lot of things implemented that we risk a lot to save a lot, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or back then they were all go. There was nothing set in stone or on paper. Like if there was an emergency or someone was in need or whatever, they didn't think, they just went. And it was 70s, what have you. But versus now, I mean, probably do the same thing. We'll probably think a little more before we go in there. What do we have? You know, what's the danger? You know, it's just different. So
What have other people in your family told you about your dad as an individual? Like, I'm really curious about like, did your dad become a firefighter because he had this spirit of wanting to save others and solve problems, and that so he became a firefighter, or was he a firefighter and then that just kind of
no, well, talking to my grandmother growing up, she said he always wanted to help people. He was involved with the Boys and Girls Club. He was
okay,
always, wanting to help the youth or what have you. And so I think maybe that laid the groundwork for him to become a firefighter.
yeah,
It's hard to say. Everyone has their own perspective on it. So I mean, I know he was a good person, great dad, what have you. What I remember, he taught me how to swim. He taught me how to horseback ride. I was old enough to remember that, but him and my mom were divorced, but I would be with him like on weekends and stuff like that. So, but he, like my mom would say, yeah, he had a bad call, he had a fire, he had to help somebody, things like that, that nature.
but what do you think happened? I mean, your dad wouldn't have swam that if he didn't think he could swim it. Or was it just a moment, the sinking of the raft and the people yelling for help, and
He didn't have to go.
'cause it was a couple 100 feet, right?
Yeah, yeah, he didn't have to go. He didn't have to. He was on the shore with me when Walter went. He didn't have to go.
Do you think he kinda went to back up Walter?
Yeah, he's like, that's my buddy, and I'm
Wow.
going. And in hindsight, I mean, like my boss at work, if he went, I'm going. I'm not even gonna think. I just am. I love that dude. I'll do anything for him. And so it's just is what it is. So, and I'm not trying to sound like gung ho or anything
Sure.
like that because I'm not. But
So, obviously, you're a trained firefighter with 25 years experience or whatever. Um, how would you have approached that situation? What if it was you, as you are now as an adult and a trained firefighter, and 200 feet out, Lake Pleasant, the water's 50 degrees, a raft is sinking? What would you do? Would you do what your dad did?
I probably would. If I seen can I use Ricky's?
Absolutely, yeah.
So my boss is Ricky Pearsall, and he's kind of a big deal in my opinion. If he went to try and save one of his kids in the same situation, I wouldn't even blink.
Just
So
go
be
right
it.
in, right
Yeah,
after him,
yeah,
just instinctively, and
yeah.
that's just what you do.
I would.
That's unbelievable. So the other people who were there that day, and I don't mean to ask all the questions, but I'm very curious
I'm
about
learning
stuff.
as you do.
So, how many of the people who were there that day do you speak to still?
It's the only one was Solomon, his son. I saw him at the memorial. I got his phone number. I'll text. I haven't texted him in a while. Um, that's it. And guys have went on calls in South Phoenix and been approached by individuals that were there, by an individual that was there, but I don't remember their names. the guy that was with the kid that was with me, and they were like, "Yeah, I'm so and so. I was with, you know, Chauncey Ray. Yeah, we know him.
Yeah.
I was with him that day at the lake. This and that." I'm like, "What?"
Wow.
And I'm like, "Who?" And they go, "I don't know, Chauncey." We're like, "This guy. We went to the house to help somebody, and this guy was there." And so I was like,
So
okay,
it's like this shared traumatic experience. I mean,
yeah,
nobody who was there is ever going to forget
no,
that. I mean, it's
no,
just, I'm sure it
no,
was all kinds of just rando people just there at Lake Pleasant that
yeah,
day and
yeah.
to have
So,
fun too. And then to witness all that happening.
mhm.
That's just unbelievable. So, anybody else in your family become a firefighter or public safety?
No, I have a nephew right now in the process. He has an interview in June, this June, and it's my wife's sister boy. He's 24, so he thinks he wants to do it. So I said, you better be serious. You be ready. You tell people that I'm your uncle. Yeah, that's a big deal. I tell them.
Well, what about the sheriff that took you to Jack in the Box? You ever bump into him again?
Nope,
That's
never.
so weird. It's
Yeah,
like,
I'm sure
no.
he
It's just a
remembers it.
deputy.
Yeah, I
He's just a
mean,
deputy. Yeah,
I bet he remembers you. I
yeah.
bet he remembers that whole
right.
day
There's no way
pretty
you
well.
can. I mean, we go on those
Yeah,
calls all the time, and we
yeah,
remember, you know,
yeah,
with
yeah,
with kids and
yeah,
stuff like that. You never forget them in the circumstances. So I'm
yeah.
confident he still remembers, and I don't even know what you do with that,
I don't
but
even know.
I'm sure he remembers. You know, one of the things, Chauncey, we talked about, I'm learning too, and from you know, about this whole story. But
Sure.
it's actually been one of the more fulfilling things I've done in the fire service is do some of these interviews and learn about people. But
Mhm.
my oldest is 6 right now,
Uh-huh.
and I'd like to think there's like some core memories of them, right? And there's like a very like, I don't know, we miss sometimes the human side of things. And what you and I talked about is we see all those pictures of faces
Yeah.
that are up on the ladders, typically at the stations,
Mhm.
or they're on the picture of our line of duty deaths. And I approached you about this whole thing because I think it's important we remember the human side of these guys, um, because I think that allows people to better understand who they were and better appreciate what they did.
Absolutely.
So, um, you know, hearing your story about your dad is awesome because I just knew the bare bones basics of it. I didn't know
Sure.
you were there. I didn't know the circumstances. I just knew that he drowned and
Yeah.
then he's on the wall. And then you told me everything about him.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess in the spirit of that, I'm hoping some of our guys listen to this, even if they don't listen to any of the other stuff we put
Yeah.
out. What I think people are like, oh, Chauncey was 8, so you know he was a kid, he couldn't remember anything. As a person with somebody who's a 6 year old, I can almost guarantee you have some very core memories of your dad. And with that being said, if you're cool with sharing any of that to like let people know who have the 6 year olds, who have the 7 year olds, having the 8 year olds, like what would you want to know the guys that we work with, what would you want them to know like about your dad, or is anything you can share with them to help them better understand like the kind of person he was and make it more of not just a picture on a wall?
Well, from what I can recall, just you know what? It's a dangerous job. He was doing what I think comes natural in our profession. A good person. Just try and just do the best we can, help people. Like they say, be nice and just keep on going, man. I mean, that's a difficult one because everyone's different. Everyone has different things going on in their lives. And you know, firefighting, it's our family there, and then we have our immediate family. So I don't know, Ben. That's a tough one because everyone's different. Everyone's unique in their own way. So just make the best of it.
Yeah. I know it's crazy that when you talk about it that he went in because it was his buddy, and I think it's there. And I see you and Ricky, like you guys, since you got together at 28, you do
Hmm.
everything together,
Yeah.
and like you're different people, but you're all
Yes.
about it. But I feel the same. Like our culture's changed. It's not armchair quarterback and what it was.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I think any member of our family that wears that blue shirt, if
Yeah.
they're in trouble, it's not. It's well, which one is it? No, it's one of ours. We're going right,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think now that as you tell that story, like gives me chills thinking it's like I feel like every one of us would do that.
Well, like when my mom talks to me or whatever, she'll be like, "You're like your dad in a lot of ways." My brother is more like him, but he wouldn't remember. But he's a lot like how my dad was. A lot of friends, you know, a lot of friends. Like when I was at 28, we go on calls and they're like, "Are you Chauncey Ray's son? Are you related?" I have a I have a
Wow.
funny story too. I don't know if you guys
I want to
want
hear.
to. Okay, so I was at 28 and we went on difficulty breathing, this lady, nice lady, whatever. And we go in there and we're treating her. And the son was there and whatever. And he goes, yeah, his name was Chauncey too, her son. So I was like, what? I go, no, you're messing around with her. He goes, no, my name's Chauncey. My mom named me after a firefighter that passed away.
Shut the front
Whoa.
door.
And I go, what? I go, no way. And her name was Sandra. And I was like, Sandra, did you know Chauncey Ray? She goes, I did. She goes, one day I was at the beauty salon and my aunt's a beautician. I was getting my hair done. And her brother came and it was my dad. And she was introduced and I go, but you guys never were together. And he go, no, no. She goes, I just liked his name. So I named my son Chauncey. And I go, no way. And the guys all stopped. They were looking on the truck. And I was like, all right. Yeah.
Dang, that's pretty cool, dude.
I'm not
That's a
kidding you. I
small
am
world.
not kidding you, man.
The South Phoenix community is so
Yeah.
tight knit. Like I feel like everybody
Yeah.
knows
So I was
everybody,
like,
so
are you kidding me? And he said, yeah. So, yeah. But
man, that's freaking awesome.
yeah, it's weird.
I've
Yeah.
had chills like 4 times already since talking to you, and that was
Yeah.
another time.
Yeah.
I can't believe that a kid got named after your dad.
Yeah.
And you only learned it that way.
Yeah.
And if you hadn't
Yeah. So I was like,
had that experience,
Sandy,
you
yeah.
never would have known. That's
Uh-uh.
unbelievable. I guarantee you nobody's named after me.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
safe.
You never know. Yeah. So, but I try to carry myself how I remember how he was with the job, with the fire department. And I think I do a good job with that. I try to
Yeah.
stay positive, professional, do my thing when I have to, business is business, and then have fun at the same time. So
I think you
that's
absolutely
it.
do. Like in
So,
my times around you, I think
yeah.
you've carried on his legacy
Sure.
in a huge way, man.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I don't know, that face on the wall to me, this is the first time we've been at the same station. We've
Yeah.
obviously crossed paths
Yeah.
a lot. But man, just working around you, like it to me, and I'm sure other people have had this experience now, that face on the wall of Chauncey Ray, your dad,
Yeah.
like means something. There's more of
Sure.
a connection to it.
Yeah.
Not only just knowing the story, but knowing you. And you figure the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah.
And so I think that's pretty cool.
All right.
You guys have such a dangerous job, and I'm the outsider here. I'm a filmmaker.
Sure.
And Ben's firefighter.
Okay.
You're a firefighter, and from an outsider looking in, you gotta show up, think fast, come up with a plan,
Mhm.
save somebody's life, and not put yours in any riskier situation that it has to be in. But you've got so many different types of calls that you go on, and but do you have any water calls that you have to go on? Drownings, anything like that?
I've been on a few in my career. I've been on
Where
a
you've
few.
had to go into the water?
No. When
Good.
we get there, they're out of like a pool or what
Oh,
have you.
yeah.
But usually when it kind of hits home is when it's kids. Obviously, no
Oh,
matter who
yeah.
it is, it's bad. But when
Yeah.
it's a child, that's kind of like, there's a lot of moving parts on that one. And so it kind of, I kind of like put my memories on the back burner because I'm there to, to help
Yeah.
this person or what have you. So
The memories when it's just very complicated. You were 8 years old when it happened. Like how often you're just sitting there on the couch, all of a sudden it just pops into your head, like what the lake looked like that day and stuff like that. Are those just distant memories now?
no, I still can remember it. Obviously I learned to live with the pain of losing him, being there and what have you. But I'll think about it.
Who
every now
stepped
and
in
again.
after your dad passed away? Who like stepped in? Uncles, other firefighters,
Mom and
anything like
grandma.
that? Yeah,
Mom and
really?
grandma. And then firefighters every now and again. But mom and grandma.
Was it the same back then as it is today, where if a firefighter passes away, like just firefighters are constantly reaching out? Can we help? Do you need anything? Was it
I
like it back
think it's
then?
more so now than back then. They stayed in touch with my grandmother. The I think Brunacini, the Union, a little bit, but I think it's more so now. Yeah. So, and obviously I was young, so I was behind the scenes. I wasn't, if they did reach out, but yeah, and it was after the whole incident happened, I remember that my grandma, we had to go and speak with attorneys, and I'm assuming maybe for insurance purposes or something. I don't know at the time if it was what do you call it? Duty death on whatever
Line
Line
of
of
duty.
duty.
line
Yeah,
of duty.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it was recognized because they were off duty back then. So
Off duty, doing firefighter stuff.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So remember I had to go and
How
sit
does that work today, Ben?
I think it ultimately was considered that, right?
now. Yeah, it did.
So if
They
you, and
if you jump
obviously,
into action,
Yeah.
you're
yes.
doing your job.
if
Now
you're off
yeah.
duty with your wife and kids and you grab a ladder and go up into a window to save someone from a burning house, even though you're not on shift, is that
I mean, this whole thing's videoed, so I know that. I don't know
No,
that for sure, but
I
it's
think
my
it is.
understanding they went
Yes.
back and they recognized
Yes,
that
they
as them
recognize
doing
it
their
now.
job.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
because that's what it seems like to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But and so that was it. And then yeah, so tell the lawyer what you see, what happened, what they did, and then wait some more and then go tell it again. And so I never really got the gist of that. I didn't ask. I was like, you know, even as I got older, I didn't, you know.
Well, one reason, obviously we're talking here today is, you go to a lot of stations, you see photos on the walls.
Sure.
But you don't really know the stories. They're just a photo of a guy we
Mhm.
lost in 1977. But obviously there's this tremendous story behind this. Sounds like your dad was a tremendous guy and
Yeah,
didn't
thank
think
you.
twice about jumping in the water. It's like, holy cow. I mean,
Yeah.
terrible to lose him, but what a freaking brave human being. That's got to be an inspiration to you to have a dad who had such.
Yeah.
Can we say balls on the podcast?
It's your podcast. So
Great.
yeah.
It's mine. But just the guts to do that, just jump right into action and not
Sure.
think twice because he was backing up his buddy,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It's just really incredible. I know guys who lost their dads at young ages, and they're not as well put together as you. They didn't turn out as well, and it's amazing how you're just this 25-year firefighter guy and great at your job and just super great human being.
Thank you.
It didn't just demolish you, but
he's been getting, and I'll brag for Chauncey, like he's come across a lot of firefighters, man. You're not just a firefighter in the department, like widely recognized dude. It's like every morning he shows up, he's happy. Yesterday, you got demolished on an overtime
I
shift. You
got
show up.
smashed.
Hey,
If I
What
could
happened?
cuss, I
Dude.
would.
No,
No,
I mean,
just
just a busy
busy.
shift.
Oh
Just
yeah,
busy.
just nonstop.
Yeah.
And the odds haven't been in his favor here as far as his overtime shifts lately. He's just been getting brutal, and he comes in like dressed to the nines, got his uniforms dialed in, happy as can be. It doesn't matter what kind of mood you're in. I have not been able to get to that station in the morning and not just put everything aside and just be happy to see Chauncey. And I
Yeah,
know
that's
he's done that for 25 years.
Yeah.
And I think it's I would like to think that I'm giving my kids those kind of characteristics. I like to think if I have them that I got them from my dad. But I mean, he's a testament to what a Phoenix firefighter is supposed to be. Like that, he's the kind of person that we want. So how he got there, I don't know. But I mean, he's one of our best. And
Thanks,
I think
Ben.
everyone you come across is going
Appreciate
to say the exact same about him. I don't want to pivot too far, and we'll definitely bring stuff back, but I think it'd be a wasted opportunity, Chauncey. We always talk about in our interview the Gary Picari thing with live your interview, leave it better than you found it type of thing. But hopefully we're going to talk to some younger guys on the job through the point of this. You and myself, I mean, you got more time on than me. Can you tell your story? Are you comfortable telling your story a little bit about how you got here and like kind of your experience on the Phoenix Fire Department? Because maybe there's going to be somebody getting out of the military, somebody who's had stuff growing up. I mean, what is your story? You said you were in the military, right? And then ultimately got in the fire department, and then maybe talk about your career path.
No, see, I played junior college ball a year, and then I went in the Army, got married, had our daughter out there, and we have a son now. Been married 35 years, what have you, lucky. And then
Good job.
I was working for City of Phoenix Water
Okay.
prior to getting on the fire department, and we were set. I was good. I mean, we were, American dream. We were buying houses and just living. And then when I talked to my buddy, he's like, just try one more time, and I knew going in, like, being that I was the son of a fallen firefighter, a lot of eyes on me. You know how the fire department is. Oh, well, is he going to be good? Is he going to be a good worker? Is he going to be solid, or is he
Yeah.
going to be, something else? lazy or what have you.
Yeah.
So, and I was scared, man. When I got hired, I was like, I was clueless. I mean, just because I'm the son of a fallen firefighter doesn't mean I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to kind of fill it out, and you want to do a good job. Like when I was a probationary or booter, like Gary Wolf, Chauncey, you're no super booter, but you make up for it with your personality. I go, well, thanks, Gary. That means a
I
lot.
think that was a compliment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll take
So,
it.
and he took care of me over there at Ladder 9. So, this job, I mean, I see, I don't want to say 50-50, but the kids coming on now, I think they want to do good. I think they want to work hard and make a difference. But then I could see some other sides where not so much. And I I don't want to be like, well, pull them aside and say, hey man, you need to step it up or this and that or whatever. I rather just show them. I don't want to make any negative comments to them or anything because they're young and they're learning. Maybe they're fresh out of high school or something, and no one ever showed them how to work or figure things out. So
More's caught than taught, right? I mean, that's what I
yeah,
say. And I mean, you're
yeah,
definitely
and
walking the walk at the station.
I try. When I go to work, I try to lead by example. Not that I'm a leader officially. I just go there and I want to do a good job, and hey, do this, not that.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm a
know.
little bit older. Maybe I'm like a grandpa to them or something. You know what I mean? So
I know, right?
yeah,
My 19-year-old nephew just graduated the fire academy on Elburn, Illinois, and his dad died at 38, line of duty death,
okay.
and I'm excited for him. I'm excited that the fire department is going to raise him and be kind of some male role models for him, much
Yeah,
like you are
sure.
for the young guys right now. He hasn't had a dad for the last 7 years or so. That's Becky behind the controls over there. 9 years. He hasn't had a
Okay.
dad in the last 9 years and could probably really benefit from being around good-natured, strong
Yeah,
men with purpose and
sure.
conviction, and it'll be really good for him. He's gonna grow up a whole lot at that station, I imagine. But he's 19. He's gonna be an EMT or something for a couple of years because he's got to
Yeah.
be 21 to be on a truck in Elburn, Illinois, or something. But yeah. Amazing story. Is there anything you'd want to share that we haven't talked about your dad or about being a
No, I
firefighter?
appreciate it. No,
Just
I love it. I appreciate it. Yeah,
D-
thank you.
Heck yeah, dude. Thank you.
Yeah,
I think
man.
it's going to be really cool. I don't know if I'm hoping we can get to everybody. Everybody who's interested will certainly offer it to them, but it'd be
Sure.
really good that, I
It's
mean,
good. It's good, man, because kids. I mean, in the academy, they're having these groups, these focus groups, where kids were calling me and say, "Hey, I got your dad. We were assigned fallen firefighter, what have you. Could you tell me a little bit?"
awesome.
And so I'm like, "Sure, whatever.
That's awesome.
Okay."
Nothing drives me more mad, as Ben knows, than statistics or photos. It's like there's a person behind that. There's a story behind that, and they're not a photograph on the wall, man.
Yeah,
They're
man. I
they're a
appreciate
story.
it. Right on. Yeah.
I'm glad we got to talk about your dad. Sounds like he's
Yeah.
an amazing human being,
Thank you.
and you also seem like an amazing human being. It
Oh,
was super
thanks.
great to
Stop.
meet you today.
Okay. Yeah. Likewise.